Hi guys, welcome. So, as you guys can see, it's been a week, about a week. So, uh, it's been a little time. I didn't want it to go too long, but I am glad to say we are back. Um, this episode is episode 2 in our series that we just started. As you guys can see, I did end up getting a new intro, so I'm excited about that. If you're new to my channel, thank you guys for tuning in. We talk about relationships here, all kinds of relationships. If they're monogamous, non-monogamous, and we talk about how those relationships affect our lives daily and all kinds of things like that. So we talk about health here. As you see, I cosplay, do those things. So hopefully we have a lot more fun content, and I'm going to start doing interviews, and it's just going to be a great thing. So hopefully we can start building up this channel and really showing support for some of our other friends and their channels, because there are a few people that I deal with basically every week, and and we want to get them going. So like people like Jen on the Block, there's a lot of other people that I want you guys to tune in on, and I want to share our conversations, because not all the conversations I have here are over on the other channels. So thank you guys for joining us with that. We also have, um, like I said, our new series is Poly by Nations. I do that with M3. So what we do is we have an episode here, and then we have a more in-depth conversation with questions over there on knowledge and relationships. So this is kind of a two-part series. Um, that is going simultaneously. So it's very interesting. And so that's what we're doing. So if you guys were not here, please go back and watch the last video. We talked about what was going on with me recently. I was courted by a gentleman who is not in this country. He is actually he's Afghanistan. Oh, he's from Afghanistan. And we basically have been kind of talking about possibly dating and seeing what that would look like. So I am going to take you guys on this journey with me to see what it's like to date someone internationally. On top of all that, as you do know, I am poly, so dating poly outside of my culture, outside of my country, and what that looks like. And especially right now with um, a lot of stuff going on with passport bros and things like that, this is actually a good opportunity to spread this word for women and men, and talk about safety and all kinds of topics. So this is not just about me dating and how it is to be poly, even though that is a big part of it. But it also is going to expound into other things. So I'm glad you guys are here. Please subscribe, like the video. And if you guys have suggestions, please give them up. Sometimes I can ramble. I can go on for days, so I'll try to keep our show short, but get some really good facts and hopefully make it a little bit more fun, because I'm actually a very, very, very fun person, and I feel like because I'm in teacher mode, or giving out information, I tend to get more serious. So I want to relax a little bit. So I did end up, I just put on something nice, and I just want to share with you guys. And then later on tonight, if you don't know, Jen on the Block will be live. She actually is already live. Unfortunately, I do need to make this video, so I can't just run over there, but I shall be over there. And her topic was basically about women becoming toxic, possibly because of men. So if you're interested in that, and then maybe you'll see my video later, go check out Jen on the Block. She'll have that knowledge and relationships. Also, we'll have some content tomorrow. So check out some of these places on YouTube for a good conversation. So let's dive right in, right? Okay. So guys, like I said, I've been messing around with StreamYard, and each time gets better, hopefully. And we'll go for it. So we want to turn on some good background music, because I don't want it just hear the silence in my fan, right? So we got some music here. Hopefully it's not too loud. So I want to talk to you guys today because Passport Bros have been getting a lot of attention, a lot of attention. There's a young gentleman named Austin. He was out out of country, and I don't know all the big details. A lot of people are saying there are particular incidents where he was promoting other countries as a place to kind of go pick up girls. Some people say he wasn't, and it was misinterpreted. All kinds of things. So this is actually a big topic that's going on right now. So what we were talking about on our last episode was kind of about how we start to get to know someone out of country, because that could be a scary thing, especially since you can't just fly to them right away. Most people can't do that, and especially if you're a female going to another country, you want to investigate that place. And so that was one of the things we left off on, was how do you start looking up things in culture, religion? These are the things you really want to look into. Now, me myself, I've gone to school. My area of study is international studies. East Asia was my area, specifically Japan, but obviously there's other areas. And we learned about also the religion. A lot of the classes were really based about religion. So Buddhism, Hinduism, there was all these things, so if you're Muslim, Islamic, we learned about all those religions and kind of what it was about. So then I was introduced to a whole new world. So if you guys don't know about anything that's religious, and you're only really kind of know about Christianity and just those kind of sectors of Christian faith, because if you don't know that, there are divisions in that. So you want to get yourself educated, okay? And I know it seems like a lot of work, but it's worth it. I mean, because if you are someone dating someone who's very religiously strict, someone who involves religion in their daily life, Islamics, Muslim, there's a lot of things that they do that's part of their daily life that is connected to religion. And some of them aren't, but things like having to cover yourself as a woman. If you're in certain areas in Afghanistan, you can't go outside without coverage. I think right now, currently, they have to be fully covered. That is a law. If you're found outside incorrectly dressed, your husband or your father, they will get a ticket. So these are things that you would like to know what's going on. So even if you don't plan on living there, if you decide to go there to visit maybe their family or whatnot, you want to be educated in what goes on there, so you know what you're walking into. Okay, it just makes sense. This is part of just really diving into someone else's culture and learning what it's about. And I know Americans are all like, we just want to do us, and that's great and all, but you got to realize in any situation when you go to a new area, you need to know about it. That's even locally. So you really want to make sure you're being safe. And like I said, that goes for locally. When we were just, I guess, if you guys go check out Knowledge Relationships, we were speaking about how women who do these, get flown out. You get flown out. You don't know the area. You don't know the rules. You could have some hardships. If you have ever gone to particular states, they may allow you to smoke weed. Some do. You may go to a place where you're driving through, and all of a sudden, dang, that's illegal there. So getting information about where you're going to, it just makes sense. It's just a smart move, especially where there's people who don't know your language a lot of the times. It's all kinds of things. Now, most places, they do know English. English is part of school. It is one of the languages that is like a requirement, at least like a year or two of English is a requirement in most places, but not everywhere. So be aware, dive into that culture. And that's what we were doing last time. So last time what we did was I pulled up Google while I was on there so you guys could see what I was doing. I thought that was great and effective. I didn't watch the video back all the way. I think it did have a little skipping in it. The internet is very touchy because I live in corn. I live in corn, and that is just the realest thing I ever tell anybody. I live in corn. I live very, very close to lots of farms. I am in the Midwest, but not only that, there's cities here in the Midwest, of course, but I live near lots of farmland, and living near lots of farmland is just what it is. And the area I'm in is just doesn't have a really good service for some reason. I am working on it. Hopefully one day. Yes, it will happen because we're gonna give great affirmations, right? And hopefully it works out and we're gonna fix it. But until we get there, right now, if you get a little spotty, please bear with me. I understand what it is. So, like I said, you want to make sure where you're going is safe. You want to know the rules. Look up some laws, especially about what you can bring contraband. You do not want to be in another country in jail. You don't. I promise you don't. I think people don't realize how blessed they are in America until you've gone to other places and see what it's like. And I don't mean that other countries aren't as good as America. Please don't misconstrue that. What I'm saying is that the liberties and the freedoms that we have here, most countries do not have that abundance. They don't allow some things that a lot of Americans do that are reckless. They don't allow it. So be aware. Please look up some laws. Look up things before you go to these places. Make sure you're wearing, especially if you're a woman. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna move a little bit. This is a really big thing. Look at me get uncomfortable. If you are a woman traveling, big thing. We know human trafficking is real. If you don't know, please be aware. It is a big thing, especially, and I say that once Black women, but especially for people who have blonde hair, light color eyes. Let's just be honest, that is actually not like a normal thing. So even if you went and dyed your hair blonde, you're attracting attention that you may not want. So these are things you want to make sure you're aware of. So there are times you want to make sure you're doing your catfish checks, guys. Okay, come on. There's regular common sense, right? You do catfish checks. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you have, when you start to get to know someone, which I did, was we're not at that step yet. Like I said, I want you guys to go through the process with me. So first thing is, I spoke with him via text. I checked out his Facebook, which we talked about last episode. And then what I did was I did a video call. Now, video calls are great. He also, during the video call, kind of showed me in the house a little bit. Each video call, I spoke to him in person. Even if they say they don't know English very well, a lot of them, their English not very well is very well. You can understand them. Okay, it's not confusing. You can gather the pieces. Okay, so that's what it is. So please have the video chat. Try to do that pretty often, recognizing what time it is. Some women can get upset or men can get upset because, this person's not answering the phone, they're not available. Maybe they have something else going on. Well, the person you're talking to lives 13 hours away. They're on the time. You guys have to find a time frame that it's good. So my time frame with his name is Shazad. Just because Shazad is between like 9, probably 9, 10-ish to about 1, 2-ish in the morning, which is not necessarily bad because sometimes I work late and I work in the evening. So technically speaking, after I get off work, I can stay up while it's his morning, and I can talk to him while he's maybe at lunch or in the morning, and I'm at night. Opposite way around also. So these are things you gotta kind of figure out. But definitely back to safety, making sure that you're video chatting with these people that you're meeting. You also want to get full names. People do this thing where they'll talk to people for long periods of time and they won't know their full real name. If he goes by something else, get his full name. That's not uncommon for them. It may be weird for Americans. It is not weird for people to give their full names out. You're not going to go around calling him, everybody calls him Pookie Bear. No, we don't. They're gonna give you their real name. And it's not a bad request. Get the full name. I would suggest also, kind of seeing their daily routine. Like I said, on these video calls, if you say what you guys go eat, having exchanging pictures. These are good ways to communicate with partners long distance. And a lot of people say, well, I feel like if they're long distance, I can't really interact with them, and I struggle with that. So we also I'm going to push that for the next video of how to keep your relationship interesting, how to get over that kind of like the first month of bump, because what happens is I notice in these relationships is that they'll go from 0 to 100, what I mean sexually wise, because you just go to 0 to 100 because the conversation, after you get kind of basic information, you're like, okay, well, now we've been talking for 2-3 weeks, okay, or like you might have some sexual energy, and then after maybe a little bit of sexual energy is done, what do you talk about? Especially if you're trying to get a real connection, you have to know how to engage in activities with your partner long distance. So those are going to be for our next conversation. But those are some things. I'm going to bring that up. But back to making sure we can interact with our international friends in a safe manner. So like I said, being on the safe side, regardless if it's local or not, you want to make sure that you're checking all these boxes. And I'm going to tell you this: don't be fooled by a nice picture. Like, so you don't want to get catfish in general. A nice picture. Make sure you see them on the video cam, and then even in some situations, you may go somewhere and it's not even the person. You were talking to them, you saw you video chat them, and then they're not even. You don't know what's going on. So you want to make sure you're careful with that. And then you want to also, like I said, make sure you're building a connection through some kind of activity. So you're being safe because you're visually seeing things. You're seeing who he hangs around every day. You're seeing parents. You're getting information about them on a daily. Okay, well, if something happened, you know who they were. Hopefully you guys are not being unsafe. And we're talking about safe is giving away credit card information, trying to buy people things. Their scammers do exist. They will show you their faces and they will still scam you if you aren't careful. That goes for men too. This ties into the Bang Bro. That was the wrong episode. No, that also goes for Passport Bros. What? See, that's why everyone's confused, guys. Passport Bros sounds too close to Bang Bros. This is why there's so much confusion. Y'all should just change your name to something else. It's too close to the other activities. See, now I'm going to get banned for saying that. Oh, gosh. Okay, anyway, so you definitely want to make sure, ladies, you're not sending pictures of your body and all that. People make websites. Please just use some common sense. I know that you get sexually riled up and you want to show them all the cookies sometimes because you've been talking to them. Please don't. And don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that there are plenty of times where women, even in the United States, they'll talk to someone for about a week and you're showing private parts. Okay, so this is not uncommon. Don't look confused. Don't make it seem like I'm the weird one when this happens all the time. Okay, so when you're doing this internationally, just remember that. Okay, you're showing pictures. There's plenty of times I've heard people say, like, you'll see, you're on Facebook, you get calls from people from other countries. They'll call you over and over again if you ever had that. And sometimes if you answer the phone, they'll show you, they're just basically flashing you. And then if you're on streams, sometimes they'll get in there and you'll see they're in large rooms with other men, depending on which area you are. But there's lots of times where these men, they all live together and they work together, or they're all in the same house. And you may be showing a picture to your so-called boo, but he's showing your picture to 30 other men. Maybe you don't care. I don't know. Maybe you have an OnlyFans. You don't care. I don't know. But let's just say, even if you did have OnlyFans and you don't care if someone says something. At the end of the day, you get paid for OnlyFans. You don't get paid for a whole room man to see a picture of you half naked in another country because you shared it with one person. So however you want to take that, let's just keep it a little classy. Just as a person, value yourself enough to know that there are incidents that happen and just want to be aware of it. I'm not saying people who aren't liberated want to feel free and run around naked. I want to run around naked sometimes too. I love the cosplay. Sometimes I want to look like a dragon slayer in a two-piece. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, I even feel like, okay, well then I have to realize that, what I'm doing, there are possibilities that this could be used incorrectly. Regardless if I want to continue it or not, it's just, you just be aware of what you're doing. Is that fair to say, guys? I think it's fair to say. Okay, so those are really like the rest of the safety. Like I said, M3 and me did one on knowledge and knowledge relationships. It is part 1B. That is the episode. You check that out. We talk a lot about safety and how some more depth in safety, and then we also we're talking about some other things. So you check that out. Like I said, we're also talking about now it's like the religion part. I want to go back to that. Making sure you guys line up. If you don't know, once again, like I said, these are just little things people don't really realize. Like, there's things between Baptist and someone dating a Catholic. Like the religions, they kind of are off. You date a Seventh-day Adventist, the rules that the religion goes by are not the same. You date someone who's Muslim, and then you date someone who's Jew. Like it's just different. So knowing those differences, knowing the families are going to be okay if you're going to be long term with someone, these are interesting. Know that maybe your partner may like to pray. These are things, during the day. These are things you may want to find out, and then educate yourself on it. I can't express how important it is if you are interested in dating someone else to really know what that culture is part of. Down to even if you went to Mexico and the Day of the Dead, do you want to know what that's about? Someone may have family members that really participate in that. You may really you could embarrass someone. You could upset them because you don't value it. You really want to know what that culture is about. You want to know about the food. If you date someone from India, a lot of times, India, Africa, they eat with their hands. A lot of foods are eaten with their hands. If you're freaked out by that, I'm just saying, you really need to know the culture. Take a moment, go on YouTube, look at the travel channel, check out some of those places. There is information available to you with all these streams of education out here that people really don't think about. Like I said, Travel Channel, check out Travel Channel, different locations, different foods, all kinds of things, especially as a woman, especially, a lot of men like to eat, okay, and they like food. So if you have a Jamaican man, I'm just using difficult, you have a Jamaican man, he may like to have his rice and peas. He may like to have oxtail. Do you know how to cook that properly? Do you know how he likes? Not everybody makes it the same. And you gotta find that out. And don't assume you know what you're doing because you got a cousin who is saying they know how to make it. You don't know. Ask. Test it out. There's some people who like more seafood because their culture, they're around more water, so they have a lot more seafood. Saltfish, I think it's saltfish. It's saltfish or saltfish. One two. That one is the big one for islanders. I personally don't like that fish, but they eat it. That's something you may want to know how to cook. You might know how to cook it the way. The rice and peas that Jamaicans eat, totally different from Americans eating rice and peas. If you didn't know that, now you do. They eat plantain. They're like, it's just, you need to get yourself educated as a woman with food. Just to some degree. I'm not saying everyone should do it because you're a woman, you have to learn about food. I'm just saying in general, even if you're just trying to be kind to your partner, it's really nice to show you took the initiative to find out something they enjoy as a child or something, and recreate that. And I'll tell you, I even do that. Like, I was never very domestic. I've become a lot more domestic over the last probably 3 years. And that was because of my partners, because they're very traditional gentlemen. And so when I'm with them now, there's things that they ask. I mean, they were like, I've never made a pie before. I made a pie for the first time this year. And they said it was wonderful. I took a lot of time. I made things like 2 times. I made gumbo greens. One of my partners, he is from Louisiana. So I took the initiative to be like, okay, so he may, he doesn't like hot food, but he likes the flavor of Creole. So I'm trying to like do that. And I'm trying, okay, let me do this. This looks interesting. Gumbo greens, it's got a turkey leg in it. And it's like gumbo. I have to make the roux. And the roux is kind of like what they put it, and different kinds of food from New Orleans. Let me do that, and I did that. I made pie, like I said, sweet potato pie. And then, okay, I don't know what happened, which sounds ridiculous, to try and make cheesecake. I don't know what happened. It didn't go good, but that's fine. You can't win them all. But those were big ones that I tried this year. And like, I don't know, like for some reason, them and food, they really enjoy food. I don't know what a traditional man in food is like. It just like it. That's exactly what it is. It's like you can't have a traditional man without him wanting good food. I don't know what kind of food he likes, but he likes it when you make him food. I don't know. It's just that's what it appears to me to be. So yeah, definitely like take the time to see what's in their culture. Even if you're in the United States, take the time to see what your partner likes. If you're from the South, they like different foods. They like sweet tea. One of my other partners, he's from Texas. He doesn't drink plain tea. Like that upsets his whole aura. Like, how dare you? Like he is real like serious. So like I said, knowing where they're from and getting to know these little things, it just for them, I think it's like the world. There's just you could just see them glowing with this excitement. I'm like, okay, I feel like it's nothing, but to them it's amazing, and that's all that matters. So I provide that, and that's what I intend to do with Shahzad. Obviously, I'm hoping that I'll get to meet him in person at the end of August. Another reason why, just red flag guys, another reason why I had to stop and pause for about a week. Unfortunately, his mother is ill. She needs a transplant, and I don't know how the health system works there, but it just seems like it may not happen in time for her to, make it. So unfortunately, I've been very, just kind of being there for him, making sure he's okay. And also, my other partner, he also had surgery this week. So I did have a lot of things I wanted to make sure everybody was okay. And like I said, I try to prioritize that. Partners and potential partners are being tended to, and that they see that I have the time for them. So I definitely want to do that. And so I did take a little bit longer to make my content today, but I will make enough for future. So this will be our one, and I'm also going to probably make another one, if not today, tomorrow, where we're going to do, like I said, we're going to talk about some other good stuff. But I want you guys, if you guys are going this journey with me long term, I will be also, when I get a chance to ask him, I didn't want to ask him now. I do want to share what Shahzad looks like, a little bit of information about him. Right now, like I said, we didn't hear before, so he's 30. He's 30. He is an electrical engineer. He's getting his PhD in that, and so he'll be coming here to go to school at the end of August. And then so that's where he's already put in some letters and got some back acceptance letters for school. So that's really cool. I told him it was exciting. So he hasn't actually chosen a school yet. So we'll see which school is. I know he got into Montana. No, Montana. Sorry, he got into I'm not even say that, Wyoming. He got into Wyoming. He got into a school in Florida. He got into a school in Texas. He got into a school in New York. So, and he was so excited. He showed me some of those letters. So that was cool. So I got to see that. So that's why I said by like interacting, I'm seeing paperwork with his name on it to the schools. So like that's kind of showing me that he's a real person. You know what I'm saying? You want as a safety as a woman, you want to do that. Now, on the other hand, men, I know people say red flags, women ask for money. Yes, of course. If you want to do something nice for them, because a lot of men, the way they were shown or the way they perceive women want to be loved is to give them things. So if you want to give them presents and things like that, I understand. Make sure you're being safe in that process. You're not giving away, like I said, you're not giving your bank information away. You're not giving away personal information, all that stuff, and even they, I know they may not be where you are. You can send, obviously you can send money through Walmart. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but like I said, in a safe situation, you can send it internationally that way. All the cash apps and different apps, I'm not saying they're not unsafe, but like PayPal would be a pretty safe way. Things like that. You just want to make sure, and especially be aware of people asking for money for things all the time, constantly. Like I said, some men were shown that giving is the way to show a woman that you can provide for security. I get it, but don't be foolish. Let's just be honest. Let's not be foolish, and take your time to get to know someone. And if you're going to visit them, if you want them to come visit you, whatever you're going to do, the same thing for precaution. Don't think that men can't get snatched up too or robbed. You guys know you're seeing these things locally too. This isn't just the international issue. You see people pull whole licks on men. You think they're going to go meet some girl, and then you meet her and her boyfriend and his cousin, okay? And then you get robbed. These are not unusual things. Know that it happens. Be aware and keep yourself safe. Don't travel large amounts of cash, but there are some places that you have to actually have cash. You need to go to the bank and get cash. So these are things you want, like I said, you want to go look up some. I know you're on YouTube now, so I'm not trying to tell you, but for more detailed instructions on a specific place, like for example, if I was going to Japan, they don't have, even though they're very electrical, there is a lot of places that do not take cards. Lots of places, even in the city, only take cash. Cabs, they only take cash. So a lot of times, if you ever notice that they can count money very, very quickly, and very well, and that they deal with larger amounts of numbers, it's because they use cash like every day. This isn't unusual. You're not using a card like that. They just don't use that. Even though they have so much technology there, they actually don't use that in forms of money. So as much. So you want to make sure you have cash there. So it's not unusual to have large amounts of money there. I could talk all day about going there, but if you need help, just for example, if you need help, you don't know where something is, or you're lost, there's like these little places on usually like the corner of a couple blocks. There is a police station, and these police stations basically they'll give you money for food. If you need somewhere to sit or go to sleep, if you need to rest, they'll let you sit there. They'll give you money for food or a cab. They know you're foreigners. They're very, very nice to make sure you get home safe or you're in a safe situation. A lot of people, they find money or something, they'll turn it into those places. So those are things you're not used to. You're not used to people doing those things. So read up on it. Read up on your places. Get to know your area. If there's another language, learn some new words. Learn all those little things so that you can be safe, because you want to learn how to say certain things so that it isn't an unsafe situation. You know how to communicate to some degree. Like you said, you have your phone. Yes, you can use translator. But at the end of the day, you want to know you can rely on yourself for safety reasons. Okay, so we just talked about combat and religion. Like I said, I think one of the biggest things when it comes to religion, I think people overlook. And I did want to bring someone else into this conversation, so I may even open this up on the episode B, so knowledge and relationships. But like a lot of people don't know that, like, Buddha, who Buddha was, and actually that he's not Asian. I mean, not that he's not Asian. He's not like Chinese or anything. He's he's from India. Like, there is a lot of detail about him, and he was actually supposedly a person, a prince. A lot of people didn't know that. So it was a person. He wasn't heavy set. That actually correlates with Hinduism. So there's a lot to learn, and about just knowing that. And you're like, oh, okay, and they're not actually praising Buddha. He says he's not a god. He is a prophet. Not even a prophet. He's just, I don't want to say prophet. Sorry, he's not a prophet. That's my fault. Please don't. No. So Buddha is not being praised. He is basically saying, I learned something and I'm going to share it with you. If that makes sense. So it is totally different than what people thought it was. And that was like the most shock to me. And when I was learning the religion, I was like, are you telling me that little fat guy everywhere on the counter, that's not even what the man looked like, and he believed in Chinese or Asian? I mean, obviously India is Asian, so I just said it, but he's not like from the Asian culture or idea of Asia that we think. Usually they're like, oh, he's Chinese, so they're heavily taught somewhere else. And the religion came from India and spread through China, all the way down to the other countries. So this is interesting, right? You would know that. And so since you do get the information, you'll know that, okay, so what does that look like? And in most people who are Buddhist, it's not against their religion to actually practice another religion. So you can be Buddhist and Christian. I don't think a lot of people do that. You can be Buddhist and Christian, you can be Buddhist and Muslim, Buddhism, whatever. Because you're not actually praising a person, which it kind of turned to, which is kind of weird. I don't know where the translation took place, that there was a mix-up, but it was like he said that you're not supposed to follow me. I'm just sharing information that I learned, and I'm just sharing this information. I want to spread what I've learned, but he's not actually. He never said that, oh, this God and all this stuff. No. So that was interesting. I was like, damn. I was missing all that. Same thing, Muhammad, the prophet. You guys can, like I said, dig deeper into these religions, separate them. I'll tell you, because Buddhism, it can get real. There's different sectors of it, just like in Christians, and it can get really, really deep. I'm gonna be honest with you, with all that information, and it was not a class of, it was like we had to write papers about each part of each section, and I some of those times I was like, I don't even know if I understand this concept fully, because it was just like, so you believe a person exists that don't exist? Like, it was so real. It was just so real. So I'm not saying dive that deep. Obviously, I was educated for other things, but getting to know the basics help you tremendously. Understand why most of the rest of the world, because we're talking about poly too, right? We won't want to forget that. Remember, most of the poly world out here is everywhere else but America. I always have my paper out here, but I think it's 83%. Not mistaken, 83% of the world is poly in some kind of way. Polyandry is 3%. They may have gone up. Might have to do some rechecks. It was 3% a while ago, but now since Africa has opened up the door to have polyandry as an actual legal thing to do, you can get married to 2 men in South Africa. Okay, so since that's actually legal, that may raise the number polyandry being practiced in the world from 3% to something else. For right now, the numbers that I collected, are not based on that law being changed. So obviously, it has changed. It's just when you start able to document and record those things, it's going to change. So definitely 3% polyandry. Polygamy is about 83%, and the rest of the world is something else. So, I mean, that's a lot. So you will see poly in other countries. This would make it a lot more interesting for me, because of the fact that I know, even though it might be a religious difference, some people don't even practice or whatever, or how much they practice a religion, but the fact that being poly is not unusual, like that's not weird, that is like a plus. Because in normal day activity, if someone said, "Oh, I have 2 wives or I have 3," no one would look at you weird. They'd be like, "Oh, okay, you have 2 wives, you have 3 wives." Okay. like you'd be like a normal thing. They wouldn't treat you weird. You would feel normal. So that's what kind of gets me sometimes when I talk on shows and they're like, "Don't you think you're doing something weird to the kids?" I'm like, it's just that it's different society right now. But if my kids weren't in America, they would see, or Europe, they would see this. If I would lived there and a husband, we would be normal. This would not be weird. So it really is changing. Like I said, there's things here that are changing. You see a lot more poly groups, a lot more people coming out as poly, who are actually poly, and who are healthy relationships that are poly, and you'll see that, and it's great to see. I love that. So when people ask me that question, sometimes I'm like, everywhere else, this isn't actually very strange, and their children aren't weird. Their children are like, okay, I got 3 moms, yeah, whatever. No one cares, and that is what's interesting about it. So, definitely, like I said, this is going to be a journey. And another thing that's interesting, so like I said, this series is about me and the transition of possibly entering into a relationship that could be very serious with someone else internationally, which is going to be really exciting. I want to show you guys some stuff that I found out in my research, but this is kind of the drier part. But I want to pull up like a little slideshow. I'm going to put some work into this, y'all. I'm going to put a little slideshow that y'all going to see what I did, and then put that little slideshow up of what I saw and found out. And then that would be like a little thing you guys can see. And then we can even do what I was thinking about doing is even trying to, when he gets closer, to try to make something that he likes. So we ask him what kind of food he likes, and then tell him that I can try to make that. So this is going to be interesting. And then having my partners interact with him internationally too, because also, since he's used to poly, he would like to probably, get to know my partner, because this is someone he would be considering his life with also. That's really different. Men in other countries tend to interact with each other a little differently than American men do. That's just real life. They just interact a little bit different with each other. I can't explain it any way else. They just do. And so since that is the case, I think that'd be really nice to see how that works out. And then, go from there. So I don't want this video to be long like we never do. If you guys, like I said, tune in to Knowledge and Relationships. We're going to have part 2B. I'm trying to get Lola from our group to be in there to talk a little bit more about her experience with her religion, that just her experience with a particular religion, and then just touch base. It's not going to be about like who's right or wrong, just her experience and what it looked like with poly. And I actually don't think her experience was like the best. I think she expressed once, but I'd like her to share it, because this is important. Why, when you try something out, you'll know it's for you or not, and that is really important. So hopefully I can get her to come, and then I also maybe want to pair up with Miss Nebraska and have her come into the next conversation, kind of about more traditional women roles and how can we transition that into international? Because like now, like I just said to you, you heard me. One of the big things is, I'm not going to say passport is a big thing, and so we want to have a conversation. That's what you have to hear, that conversation of what it's like to be an American woman, a Black American woman, even at that, and transitioning to talk to other partners outside of that. And I think having a conversation with several women would be amazing. So I definitely want to open that up. So like I said, this series is going to kind of combine other people's shows. I want you guys to look at these other people's shows, because it's not going to be just me talking. Yes, I'm going to have people here on my show too, but I want you guys to experience the full capacity of what it means to be in a poly relationship, and what it means also to have community, or we talk about things, and that one topic branches into many, just like our relationships in life, and that just because we think it's only about us, it doesn't affect anyone else, it actually does. And so I want to show how that actually movement looks like. So please tune in to another episode. I actually want to wrap up the show. I don't want it to be too long, and then I'm going to put out those little things coming up for you guys, a little bit of episodes coming forth in the future. Like I said, the cooking one is a big one. My next one is going to be the research. I might do a voiceover on that one, so you guys can see it. It has some colorful pictures. I saw some really interesting things already in my research, like what are the wedding? I know this sounds crazy, like who thinks about weddings, but I mean, for like, does that wedding mean I have to hang upside down for 5 days? In India, their weddings can last weeks. Like, are you prepared for that? Like, who pays for weddings there? If you're a traditional woman, these may be things you're interested in. Things like that. Their colors, and I think Afghanistan, their colors are green. Green is your wedding dress. I think it's green and gold. There's 2 colors. But I was like, wait a minute. Green? Really? Like, yeah. So, like, those kind of things are interesting to me. And, like, what do you expect? Like, like I said, like, am I too naked because the women there are covered all the time? Or even if he doesn't lay, I know that things change, so we want to look up things just to make sure you're informed. So like I said, I want to show you guys what I found so far. This one was just to kind of give you a little bit of more information, but I want to show you guys what I found. Okay, I didn't want to do it on this episode particularly because the fact that if I go to the internet, it may be choppy. I want you guys to see what it actually looks like. It's like crazy. Like, I was like, oh, that's cool, and what would that look like? So this is going to be interesting, guys. I hope you're ready for this journey with me. Hopefully everything works out. And like I said, prayers to Shazad and his mother and his family. Even though I'm excited to get to know him, I do know he's not in the greatest place right now. So I definitely want to take my time with it, slow it down with the show. That's why I kind of slowed it down. But make sure he gets the support he needs, and make sure he knows that my mind is in the right place and that he's not just entertainment. And that's important to me. So this is our show today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. Check out our next episode. Hopefully it's more colorful and vibrant. You're not just staring at me for 40 minutes. And then hopefully we have our guest on our next show with M3 Knowledge in Relationships. That hopefully I can get Lola on there. M3 is going to be on there with me. And then we're going to also look forward to seeing Miss Nebraska. Whatever on my show, we'll actually probably do a 2-part show where she's on my show, and then we'll do a show with her and have people come on. She has a Twitch following that's amazing because she's amazing, and we definitely want to share this story with you guys. And so this is just the one-on-one version, and then we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna elevate this a little bit more in the next episode. So I hope to see you guys there. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with me, and you guys have a great